All right, here we go, friends. It's the stream. It is Tim Kirby Russia live. I guess that's the most logical name for what we're doing here. We've already got some people here, which is very flattering. That brings me great joy. Hello, everyone. Hello, Rick, Nathaniel, Jur, Tara, Curious Canadian. I love that name. Abibas and MC. Hello, everyone. Okay, so we're kicking it off. We're going to have today a little bit of a change in the live stream. Normally we handle one topic. But one topic is maybe not that great. Maybe that's a little lame. So we actually have a bunch of topics to talk about today because I was looking for volunteers to kind of help me out with things. And guess what? We found them. So now life just got a lot easier. And so I have a bunch of different topics that we're going to talk about. And as you may have noticed in the little picture that I make for the live stream, that one thing we're going to talk about is this issue. Now, people have sort of been a little bit curious because I said with the American Villages Project that people are going to get some, phone calls or get communicated with, by the government here to start the immigration process. We're going to handle that last because it doesn't apply to everyone. But I'm going to try to make it into a broader topic that has to deal with how you should try to deal with the powers that be in Russia. That's a very important thing. But anyways, how about this? Remember, you can at any time click the raise your hand button so you can join in. I don't have a big rant today. We're just going to go over a lot of news mostly, but we're going to take our time. We're going to delve deep. If you have any questions, if you just write them pretty much anywhere, but if you essentially comment on the images from the on Tim Kirby Russia Hardcore that are related to this live stream, guess what? I'll see them. I'll see them over here in my beautiful, beautiful browser. So anyways, okay, there's still some discussion about Erdogan going in there, which is great because in the chat, guys, you're discussing Erdogan because our first piece of news is actually about that. Russia and Turkey have agreed to increase the number of flights between countries. This is very, very good for you if you want to come to visit Russia, because as we talked about in the previous live stream a bit, everyone has to fly basically around Europe now, and Turkey is one of those places that you can fly to and then hook around Ukraine to fly to Moscow or other parts of Russia, but generally Moscow, St. Petersburg. Not every major Russian city has flights to Turkey, although it seems like a lot of them do. People love that Turkish beach. What can I tell you? So more flights coming from Turkey. That's great. What other news from here? We have the Russian Mir payment system cards will now be accepted in Turkish hotels. Very interesting. Now that's again one of those minor pieces of news. That's like, okay, there's this payment system being accepted, whatever. Essentially, that means that Turkey said, well, Russians can come to our hotels and violate sanctions. Because we're not going to support it, because the Mir payment system is essentially a sanctioned system in the West. It's the thing that's in place of SWIFT now. So essentially Turkey's like, hey, we're going to help people come here and violate sanctions that are being enforced by the majority of our partners in NATO. And although Turkey isn't in the EU, but it's sort of it's been in the sort of the sphere of the EU for a long time, so on and so forth. Also, Erdogan blocks Finland and Sweden from joining NATO, at least for now. I've heard other people say, I forget who, I should have written that down, that they think that Erdogan is actually just trying to put down, he's going to use this as a negotiating thing. I won't vote for them until you give me this, this, and this. Very possible. Because one thing that Russians always forget, Erdogan looks out for number one, Turkey. So if he gets a juicy offer that he thinks is more valuable than Russia's offer of multipolarity, he'll take it. Okay, that's for sure. And the fourth little bit of Turkish news for today is apparently the Turkish president does not share the European values that are privately owned by the Americans, is what was written under this little mini snippet of news. But obviously. When the leaders have to, everyone talks about European values. As soon as the cameras go off, they go off and do their own thing. I mean, look at Saudi Arabia, for example. That's actually the perfect example. Except when it comes to pro wrestling, the Saudis like their pro wrestling. They're very Western in that way, my friends. Our second little bit of news for today, which I thought was kind of interesting. Germany, at the last moment, agreed to pay for gas in rubles. Yes, this one might be a few days old, but still fresh enough. The European Union allowed German gas importers to open ruble accounts to pay for Russian fuel. It is reported by Reuters, citing sources. According to the agency, this is due to the approaching deadline for the transition to a new gas payment mechanism, which Russian President Vladimir Putin insisted on. Now, this is kind of weird because the Germans initially agreed to that whole thing of essentially it's like what used to happen when I'd be in Cyprus. I'd use a Russian bank card. You buy something in euros, and there's a transaction fee, and so I lose rubles. The grocery store gains euros. The bank takes a little percent for themselves, and everyone's happy. That's kind of what the scheme was agreed upon, and this news seems to contradict that. That almost makes it, the way it's written, makes it almost look as though the Germans want to open ruble accounts. So that would be, again, we'll go back to my example of Cyprus. That would be for me like going to Cyprus and for some reason making a purchase, me losing rubles, the bank taking a percentage, and then the people in Cyprus getting rubles. That's weird. I don't think that news is 100% true because I think the Germans were very happy with this logic that, well, we're paying in euros technically. We're paying in euros. You see what I mean? So I think that the Germans were happy with that. So I don't quite understand this news. But anyways, the main thing is that they're going forward and they're buying more Russian gas. And anyone who says that they're going to be able to live without it is a little bit of a twerp. They don't know what they're talking about here. Let me make sure I can actually see the chat here. So going back to our first story about flights, this is not just flights from Ray. Putin ordered to significantly increase multiple trades with Turkey, buying all kinds of items needed in Russia from Western sanctions. Yeah, Turkey is actually a lot more of an economic, I don't want to say powerhouse, but they do a lot. In Russia, I would say that they're like Russia in that way. They're sort of quietly successful. They make clothing in Turkey. They make a lot of food in Turkey. They have some manufacturing. So again, although I guess like the Western perception of Russia is it's a gas station country, I think maybe the Russian perception of Turkey is that it's a like hotel country, when in fact they actually do make a lot of things. So yeah, in fact, because of their like attempts to sort of forge this brotherly relationship with like Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan and all the stands to try to sort of it's sort of like how the Russians wanted to create this idea of pan-Slavism in the 1800s. We're all Slavs. Let's all be together under Moscow. The Turks are trying to do that with Central Asia. I'm not sure how well it's succeeding. Last time I was there, a little bit. They have the Turkish universities everywhere and a lot of good trade deals, but culture didn't seem to be working out too well. But anyways, because of that, you know, when I lived in Kazakhstan, we always had access to very affordable Turkish clothing as a major step up from Chinese clothing. Because one thing you guys might not know, everything the Chinese make for the West is way better than for the rest, even if the price is the same. So weird. I guess the West has higher standards. But anyways, Jur writes, Turkey is threatened with expulsion from NATO, working more with Russia. Interesting. Well, yeah, they've been threatened. I think that threat is actually from a while ago, though. I don't think that that's something particularly new, but it is interesting. It would definitely, that would really suit Moscow if Finland and Sweden still sort of stayed out and Turkey left. That would be fantastic from like a avoiding nuclear war standpoint, because remember, one of the big things that Turkey did during the Cold War was be a sort of a Cuba, an American Cuba right next to the Soviet Union, from which launching was possible. So yeah, Curious Canadian writes, he says, I'm curious, well, we understood that from your name, about NATO advisors and generals that were rumored to be in Azovstal, but haven't been seen among those who have surrendered. Yeah, one thing I can say is because when the Azov guys actually surrendered, the news in Russia wrote that it wasn't everyone. So, and that if there is someone, they're probably being sort of exported to Russia proper. So we're going to have to wait. I think we're definitely going to have to wait on that one, and I think that secret is going to be revealed. One thing that we can say about Russia is they like to sit on their secrets. on the juicy stuff. They don't like just reveal everything. They sort of save it for the right moment. Because if you remember, I think it was like 3 years ago when Putin said on camera that JFK was killed as part of an inside job. They sat on that one for quite a while. So, yeah, anyways. Stephen Lawrence writes, people in the West need to join the dots. Sanctions and wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Ukraine equals stagnated wages, failing public services, displacement of millions, censorship and freedom of speech curtailment. Oh, I love that word, curtailment. And now inflation at 10% plus. They are not fought for the benefit of working class people. That is exactly right, Stephen. We could say maybe for America, World War II worked out really well, because if you look America before World War II, still in the Great Depression. There's a lot of debate of when America became a power. I would say that really post-World War II, I think America was, or at least universally accepted by everyone else as being a power. And so, yeah, you go pre-World War II America, post-World War II America, it's a big difference. Then America went into the 1950s, where in a lot of ways it had Russian thinker Lev Gumilyov would call it sort of like passionary moment, because that's really when the American sort of idea and what America is today was kind of finally worked out. Even if you think about it, a lot of the ways that things are in America is very much related to that time period, the whole love of cars and big spaces and big roads and all that stuff. So, so we're definitely influenced, I think, eternally from the 1950s. But anyways, I'm kind of getting off my point here. But World War II was a benefit to America. The other wars, again, I try to give people a break because, I understand the concept of containment made sense, but the way they fought Vietnam and Korea didn't really back up that logic. So perhaps those could be forgiven. But pretty much everything after that, it just seems like a mess. It just seems like a mess. And yet it doesn't really seem to particularly benefit us in any way that we see. If you look at, what Afghanistan, how did that benefit? How did that benefit anyone besides the military-industrial complex? No one knows. Didn't do anything. So, very good comment, Stephen. Anyways, let's get back to our next piece of news here, going through our somewhat Russian-related news here on Tim Kirby Russia. Always happy to see you. All 2,200 plus subscribers. Yes, we're already up to like 2,200. Wasn't it like 2 streams ago I said we hit 2,000? This is amazing. We're making progress. Anyways, our next news snippet, brought to you by our volunteers. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, on the fact that Russia should help find ways to use, quote, the frozen assets of Russian businessmen to finance the restoration of Ukraine. Quote continues, I know that from a legal point of view, proximity to the Kremlin or support for the Kremlin is not yet a criminally significant fact. Therefore, our lawyers are now hard at work on this. It is not trivial to find ways to actually use the frozen assets of the oligarchs to restore Ukraine. I think that Russia should make its contribution. So this is a big one. Okay, so what do we have here? I was told, again, by naive Russians. It's amazing how many wars Russia can win, the quality of soldiers it produces, yet how naive people can be. Because I was told that, they froze Russia's assets, and that's unacceptable, but they'd never just steal them, Tim. Sure. So, of course, all those assets that were frozen that were Russian, I don't know, what was it, like $300 billion, euros altogether? Of course, that's the moment that was frozen, within 5 seconds, that was probably already stolen and is already gone forever. Yes, I think that's horribly naive for people to say otherwise, and that's very good journalism. But anyways, the other thing is that this van der Leyen woman is trying to say that she thinks that it should be. It's not a criminally significant act to support the Kremlin, but it should be. So essentially, if you don't support the EU's foreign policy, you're going to jail. That's kind of what the hint is, guys. This is a little scary, but unfortunately, it's probably going to happen. The madness related to Russia knows no bounds. But why? Again, why Why is this so important? Because they're losing. When you're in the position of strength, that's when you can have a lot of freedom of speech and lots of different opinions. The whole having a very large Overton window comes from a position of strength, and that is one of the other reasons why you guys should be fans of the concept of having great land empires in a multipolar world, because the bigger the pole that you're a part of, even if you're a smaller ethnicity within it, the more stable that pole is, the more freedom you'll actually be able to have. So there you go. Good example of that is the eternally under threat North Korea, sort of proof of concept. Or where do you have a lot of freedom? America in the 1950s, until the threat of communism, then things changed. Anyways, we have, this is a good one. This is a good piece of news right here. But it's a visual piece of news. I have to click on it. Hold on. We're doing that. Control click. I just did. Is it opening? Is it not going to open? Okay. Stop. So anyways, here we have our chart that we were looking at. I'll just tell you it was a chart that I threw up today. You guys can look at it, white and blue. Let me throw the post link up in the group, up in the chat, so that way everyone can just go, wow, look at this chart. It's amazing, and it's in the chat. It's the average number of social media actions per published article by select topic. Happening right now, what does it say? April 4th to May of 2022. So that's about the 2-month point. Wait. End of February. End of March is 1. End of March to end of May is 2. Wait. Went to end of April is 2. So that's the little 1.5 month mark in the war. The hot phase, as I call it, or as Putin calls it, the special operation. So this is about, a month and a half into this, and already the number of social media interactions, per published article for these topics, we have at number 1 is the Heard and Johnny Depp trial. Of course, that's number 1. Hold on, let me reorganize stuff. So that's 508 interactions. Then you get to Elon Musk with the buying Twitter. You get to a generic Joe Biden. The abortion issue came up with it's a distraction, guys. This whole thing with the Roe v. Wade being canceled, it's just a distraction. That's all it is. But anyways, the Russia-Ukraine war goes to 91 mentions, which I made a joke that means, well, the antics of Amber Heard were 5 times more valuable to the average American, or just discussing Elon Musk and his weirdness was 4 times more valuable. I actually posted this chart up for Russians because they do not. This is another thing about Russia that will drive you nuts. They are absolutely sure that the average Western person, especially Americans, are as obsessed with Russia and are that interested in things happening here as Russians are with things happening in America. And they don't get that no one cares, because look at the media push for the war in Ukraine. It was huge, and yet it could do nothing to trump the Heard Depp divorce trial, which utterly crushed it. And just a generic reactions to Joe Biden one way or the other absolutely crushed it. Unbelievable. Although the Russia-Ukraine war did beat inflation, which is actually, on the one hand, you think surprising, but not, because inflation doesn't get hyped as much. So, and sadly, inflation did not have the same hype train that the war did. Maybe would people talk about it more, but I thought that was very interesting and very, again, telling the Russians, guys, people in America, even under the maximum level of propaganda machine, still don't care about Russia. Okay, it's a big thing. It's a big thing here. Yes. Anyways, guys, let's see. Do we have any comments? Yes, no, maybe, in between. Okay. Turkey, when Turkey started, we think we read about that. Yes, we read that. Okay, everything here. Mo says, I agree. Comments you see on the internet are mostly Ukrainians off each other. I'll put it this way. There is a lot of Ukrainian trollage. That is a key factor with the way Ukraine is fighting the war. They are very heavy on the informational social media side of things. I would say actually they're in some ways they're hype machine is pretty good, but it's not backed by anything. You know what I mean? They're trying to essentially sell a dead product. And that's what happens when you have this sort of like insane hype campaign that's backed by nothing. Nothing. Anyways, I can't see where's the list of people. Maybe someone's raising their hand. No one is. Okay, thank goodness. Remember, if you want to participate and throw in your thoughts, feel free to raise your hand and you can talk to me. And you can talk to me about anything that's at least not for 18-year-olds and over. But anyways, the next piece of news that we have is the ministers of foreign affairs of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa met on the 19th of May, not long ago, 3 days ago. The foreign ministers agreed that facing the newly emerging challenges, the BRICS countries should enhance their solidarity. I agree. Here's to that. Kvass, the more natural kind. They're starting to sell at the Cooseville store. I really recommend it. They have the kind that actually tastes like when the old ladies would like just put it in a jar and let that sit out there and ferment. Unbelievably good. But anyways, yeah, this is really one of these times where BRICS kind of needs to put up or shut up right now, because it is sort of like the, G7 of the multipolar world. So, yeah, definitely the time for them to take action together. But I always wonder about South Africa's membership, because if you look, okay, China has the titanic economy, right? India is growing and has a titanic population. Russia has the military strength and the resources. Brazil has resources. They have a lot of resources. And then South Africa has a rockin' high murder rate. Like, I've never really understood why South Africa. I think it might be just a geographic thing, that they're sort of at the base. People always say the Horn of Africa. I think what they mean is more the western part, not the southern part, but I could be wrong. But anyways, they're at the bottom of Africa where a lot of ships go. But I don't know. I've never quite understood their inclusion. I don't think that they're exactly the model African nation. Yeah. Anyways, we're going to keep going on. I see notifications flaring. Stephen writes, British taxpayers' money is being spent on training and arms of Nazis. Remember who our grandparents fought against while our hospitals and schools fall apart. Oh, yeah, dude. Trust me. This is, again, one of those things. This really calls into question the way that we do things. I think one of the very first videos I made on Tim Kirby Russia was one of my criticisms of democracy. If you have this giant room full of people who vote on stuff that they're really not experts on and that are giant, they haven't read, they don't get it. It's kind of like, let's keep the Bill of Rights, keep the Constitution. For England, that will be a little bit more different because you have a common law system. But anyways, we really need to top down, really revise the processes that we use to do things. And this weird concept, because remember, if you go back to ancient Rome, they initially, so legend says, I believe they wrote their first set of laws that were public on like brass or bronze plates. And I think there were 12 plates. And over time, they kept adding and changing and adding and changing. And it became to the point where there was so much Roman law that no one could know what was even possibly going on. And that lack of being able to really know what the law is, it really makes it hard to change things. It makes everyone essentially guilty of something, and it's no fun. And that's essentially where we found ourselves. We're almost in the same conundrum as the ancient Romans are, but that was like 2,000 years ago. We haven't fixed this problem of this concept of like we make something, then we patch it with a patch with a patch with a patch that removes this patch down here, leaving this patch up here. Like, there has to be a better way. There really, really, really has to be a better way. Keeping the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, keeping them in place, okay? But the methodology of this lawmaking, which almost makes it sound like the people in Congress are just working in a factory, just churning out these laws, which in some ways they kind of are. So yeah, we gotta work on that, friends. Gotta work on that. That's one of the things where I want to write a book about politics, but I just never get around to it. Where we're going to have a talk with the Boosty subscribers, because I really need to either write that book, whether I want to or not, or do something, because we're getting more and more Boosty subscribers that are helping me pay the bills and especially expand my house. So, we gotta think of some reward program. We'll get to that. JP, the enemy of my enemy. Erdogan has no friends. Putin will crush him if he needs to. But I think Erdogan will get replaced, and that one will cause Russia to crush them. Time will tell. I'm not sure. I don't think, don't quote me on this, but I don't think that they have these a limited number of terms for the Turkish president. I think he could be in there for some time to come, and with his popularity within Turkey, I think like Putin, he ain't going anywhere. So I think he'll be around. But the logic of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yes, I think that also explains a lot of Erdogan's, sometimes we work with Russia, then sometimes we send our Bayraktar drones to kill Russians in Ukraine. We're crazy. So there you go. Abibas, our buddy Abibas, who has sent a ton of cool information to me over the last week, allowing me to easily put together this live stream. And not just Abibas, not just him. South Africa is a gateway into Africa. Lots of resources on the continent. Well, they do have the mining resources. They do. But Abibas, when you've met a lot of people from South Africa of, let's just say, all racial, ethnic flavors, not the easiest country to really make long-term business deals with. I'll put it that way, man. There's a lot of problems there. But you're right. They do have a lot of mining and stuff. And yeah, it is trade route relevant. It is trade route relevant. I can't deny that, but I don't know. I'll just put it this way. It's sort of like, which one of these things is not like the other? South Africa is he not like the other in BRICS? Adam, is this where we can type questions for the live chat? You're darn right, Adam. The live stream event. Yes. YES. Oh, I didn't respond to him specifically. Reply. YES. Okay. So that's good. And in fact, guys, I really like how the chat has taken sort of a life of its own. I turn it on in the morning. It's like 100 messages. It's awesome. Mo, you don't need to read it out loud. Just commenting on what you said. Oh, about Russians thinking their daily topic for Americans. But yeah, anyways, yeah, you might not, guys, some of the stuff I tell you, you might not believe. Why don't you start living here? You'll say the obsession or this weird attitude. I remember I was on a TV show and they were like, look at this. The Europeans hate us. 55% of Greeks disapprove of Russia. Well, first off, it was one of those things where I was like, well, what do I mean by disapprove? Like Russia's foreign policy, Russian people, they don't like what? What does that even mean? That was the first part. And then it's just kind of raised the question, you want to raise your hand. Does that mean that 45% of Greeks do approve of Russia and maybe support then, I don't know, Russian foreign policy? That actually sounds pretty decent. So again, this obsession with, remember, the obsession with being liked by the West, cultural inferiority complex, it's all coming back. Sorry, guys, I don't mean to brutally beat this mantra into you, but the logic by which I tell you guys things, it has a high degree of intersectionality, as our rainbow-haired friends would call it. Very intersectional, how all this stuff meets up. Anyways, we have some black pill news. That's a bit of a long read, but I want to have some black pill news. I want to hear some bad news about Russia. And our buddy Trump. Okay, here we go. Bad news time. Trump is an enigma, as his historic rhetoric appears to be against these forces of evil, but his actions speak otherwise. His assessment and selection of key personnel, endorsements of candidates, and continued full-throated support of the blood clot-inducing big pharma experimental gene therapies, sorry to read, they don't keep you from catching or transmitting blah, 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 my boy. Huh. That he goes off. Let's go back. His actions in not doing everything in his power to free the January 6th hostages, rotting in government dungeons, passive support for Biden's reckless Ukraine provocations, and endorsement of left-wing lunatics like Oprah's talk show host. I don't get it. Oprah talk show host and Turkish citizen Mehmet Oz for Senate in a Senate race where he doesn't reside proves his true colors. A Trump victory in 2024 presidential election would ensure a chaotic whirlwind of domestic violence as a likely global conflict would already be underway. So this is our black pill news. He gets a bit into Russia later, but I just wanted to mention this. So this is one of those things where it was interesting to read because on the one hand, so he's saying Trump is meaningless. The whole Trump thing is essentially fake. He's part of the system. But if he got into office, it would cause a whirlwind of domestic violence. Why? Think about this. Well, if he's part of the system, then who cares? It wouldn't matter who's in office or who's not. This whole thing with the Russiagate stuff wouldn't have mattered. The whole mule stuffing incidents wouldn't have mattered. It's one of those things where, first off, some people make mistakes. One, sometimes when you know, like Trump does, and I've met tens and tens of thousands of people, I have a strong feeling with who he sort of endorses as these candidates is literally just someone on his team being like, there's a Republican running in the 5th district of Vermont. We've got to support him. Well, and Trump will say, well, I don't know. Is he one of our guys? The list says he supports gun rights or something. Okay. You have to understand that little stuff like that is really, really hard to – it's not proof of anything. One thing I can tell you is the actual list of everything that Putin signs into law, like every document he signs, is somewhere online. If you really want, I can find it. And it is a crazy amount of stuff. And what I mean by that, there's no way he reads it all. There's just no way that he can read it all. One thing I can sort of blame Trump for was he picked what I think is not part of a nefarious scheme where he was a candidate or whatever, is he did pick initially, especially some very systemic people, some of whom he was able to fire because I think Trump, first off, came from the business world where things are different, a little bit of naivete. And secondly, because he, like the Russians and a lot of other countries for probably too long, doesn't understand that people with a globalist mentality, they don't compromise. We all of us tend to think of other people as being like us, and people like Trump who loves a deal. Well, a deal involves two parts. Trump loves to get the good end of the deal, but Trump loves a deal, as he said numerous times. And you can't make a deal with totalitarians. So I think some of the big mistakes of Trump's presidency were going into it with this understanding of like, I'll be able to make a deal with these people. They don't want to deal with your weird-haired butt, Mr. Orange guy, all right? So I don't know. I thought that was this particular little mini article here was from, let's see, what is this from? The burningplatform.com. Very black pill, very, very black pill, very weird, and easily dissectable when you actually start to pay attention to politics. And again, guys, no politician can just say whatever they want, whenever they want. They always have to play to the audiences. There are still surprises. The president does not have dictatorial powers. It's I think that what happened with Trump is a little bit more explainable. Why didn't he save the people who marched on January 6th? I think that was to save his own butt from impeachment or worse. But that's the problem. There are some moments where I think where Trump could have been a little bit more willing to achieve martyrdom for America, but he sort of backed down. Anyways, this Black Pill article continues and finally gets to Russia. Remember Tim Kirby Russia? We got to talk about Russia somehow. Is Putin the world's last hope in derailing the World Economic Forum Great Reset agenda, or is he just playing his part in enslaving the global population in squalor and debt within a techno-gulag dystopian surveillance federation? Oh my God, that's so metal. Oh, I love it. Where you will own nothing and be happy while your overlords own everything and dole out your rations depending on your level of subservience. Even though there have been tenuous links between Putin and the World Economic Forum globalist cabal, there would be with any leader of Russia. any leader of a major nation or a person of Putin's status will have contact with those sort of people. That doesn't mean anything. That's like how there were some pictures from like the 90s where like, Donald Trump said hi to Hillary Clinton at a party or something. They're both in the elite, as well. I mean, after Bill Clinton became president, Hillary definitely became part of the elite, but the elite circle is not that big. People meet other people. Remember how I told you I shook hands with that one guy the other day, and that doesn't mean that I'm part of the liberal conspiracy? Okay, unbelievable. But anyways, he continues. The reaction of these globalists to his military operations reveals he is not on their side. Oh my God, I did not expect that. I didn't read this article to the other. Wow, he actually confirms, but he said it in the most black pill way ever. I did not expect that. He actually sort of confirmed that Putin is not on their side. Interesting. Well, yeah, I would definitely say if you want to talk about private property, we've talked about my property taxes before. 2 houses, $8 a house. I'll tell you also if you can't pay off something in Russia, the raw laws here are a lot more merciful. Private property is actually a lot more real here than I think it is in America, and I'm not being hyperbolic. We could talk about that if you want, but that could really become a very long aside. Anyways, let's look at the chat. Maybe someone wants to chat. Adam, cool, thanks. No problem. Here's one. Is it Gur or Jur? Jur like Germany or Gur like Gur, I'll get you. Did you upload the video from the Azovstal hideout yet? I noticed an Irish flag, and being Irish, I'm curious. None. Which one? There's a million billion of them, man. Which specific? Well, how about you send it to me and I'll upload it? How about that? The USA needed Turkey only when they needed them during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Well, I don't know about that, Kortik. If you look at the geopolitics of things, one of the reasons that Russia is always going to have this adversarial relationship with Turkey here is because if you think about it, this is one of those things. Is there any way that I can just sort of show you, like do a screen something? Like show you the screen I'm on. What's this? Screen share. Ooh, I wonder how that's going to work. This is probably going to be very, very poopy. Hold on. Let's get Yandex up. Yandex, baby. Let's go up to the map. I have a billion things open. So, anyways, let's see if it works. Screen share initiate. Oh my gosh. Oh no, there's so much stuff. Why? This one. Share screen. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. So anyways, if you look, we have a lesson in geopolitics here. Now you have to remember that looking at this map here, sorry, it's written in Russian. That's how I roll, baby. We see the Ukraine. You can see my mouse right there. Remember that in Belarus was all part of Russia for so long. And the Russian Empire stretched all the way down to where my mouse is here, hovering over Yerevan, right? And the Turks during the Ottoman Empire pushed into the sort of southern Slavs over here, the Romania, Bulgaria, and all that, all the way over to what today's Albania, and they pushed down. So in a lot of ways, what you have with the Black Sea is you sort of have like the Russian civilization cups the northern half, and the Turkish civilization cups the southern half. And so essentially Turkey and Russia, because of the geopolitics, the geography of things, are always going to be at odds because they're both on the two sides of this big sea, and neither is ever going to really be able to hold the big sea. It's just too big, too culturally diverse. Believe me, the Turks have tried, but it's just not possible. So, yeah, so I would say that you're unfortunately, I disagree with you. I think that Turkey screen share, stop sharing, stop. I believe that Turkey here serves an eternal purpose in terms of antagonizing Russia because it'll always be against Russia. The USA put nukes in Turkey. That's why the USSR put nukes in Cuba. Eye for an eye, said Kortik. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Mark Stone Weapon. Mark, someone promised to answer for like the last 8 days and haven't answered. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mark. I'm a bad person. Erdogan should make an announcement that Turkey will install a currency board in 30 days, and until the currency board is installed, the lira monetary base will be frozen and permitted to freely float at the end of the 30-day period. A fair exchange rate will would be locked into its new ruble anchor. Oh, I'll bet the lira. Well, you know what, Mark? What you're talking about, like interlocking the currencies, that's what our buddy, the hero of the Tim Kirby Russia podcast, who does not speak English, well, beyond like hello, Sergei Glaziev, Mr. Eurasian Economic Union himself, he sort of described that the future of the currency between nations on the Eurasian landmass is going to be based on the value of a few key currencies and 20 commodities. So eventually something like that is going to happen. Eventually, you know, that'll happen, right? It won't be necessarily that they have to be linked to the ruble, but to like the value of these commodities and the sort of pooled values of these currencies. It'll be crazy, but it'll be much better than fiat currency. So, yeah. $8 per house. Yes, in fact, did I save it? Look at this. Hold on. Is the chat ready? Are you ready? I'm actually going to upload this to the main channel because I'm that daring. Oh, maybe I'm not that daring. Hold on. I thought I had a censored version of that. Hold on. Got to censor it. What am I doing? Why I do this? No. Hold on. Got to make a censored version because I think my tax information is on there. Yeah, we're getting rid of that. Just hold on, friends. Okay. Here we go. Got to get rid of my tax number. But I'll leave my name on it. No, that did a bad job. Okay. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye, tax information. Okay. So, anyways, we're going to save that. We are going to save that to the desktop under tax or TAS. Fantastic. Couldn't hit the X key. And I will show you right now because you do not believe me. Where is it? Got to upload it to the main thing. Sorry, guys. This is hard to do Photoshop and talk. I have a ton of stuff on my desktop. That's also how I roll. Yeah. So, boom. Here we go. Oh, my God. You guys can look. The tax. This was, I saved a screenshot for my taxes when I paid for my house the first year when I had the one house, 607 rubles, which I believe was $8 at the time. There you go. That's what I paid for the house. There's the screenshot. Enjoy that. So now I have to pay $16. Don't worry about it. So the taxes are very small, baby, as Dusty Rhodes would say. Anyways, let's get back to the chat here. Maybe we got something else going on. Guys, I just returned. Oh, you were talking about John Mark Dougan finding an Irish flag. Well, you know, I'll put it this way. Like, neo-Nazism, especially in Eastern Europe, derives a lot of inspiration from just stuff that's kind of like cool. And like Irish Celtic stuff is cool, even though it's not really relevant. Well, first off, not everyone who believes in something understands it. In fact, probably the majority of people who believe in a particular belief don't really understand it. That's number one. And number two, you know, a lot of the stuff is just like being cool. All right. Because like a lot of the Azov guys have these like satanic tattoos, but they've also released film where they're doing like blood ritual, communing with Perun, the war god, because of course Russian civilization was founded by the war god, which is very heavy metal. So that's again completely contradictory, because if there is like a pagan war god, then there's no Satan, because Satan is the anti Christian god, or anti-monotheistic god, maybe I should say. And so they're just more concerned with stuff that's cool. So the Irish flag, it's like, I don't know, they're Celtic and Celtic is cool, but the Celtics are not Aryans. The Celts are not Aryans. They never were. But anyways, yeah. So that's just the mess of their moronic mentality. Okay, here we go. I have Mo's writing. Okay, you can read this if you dare. Oh, I dare, my friend. We've still got about 20 minutes on the live stream. I dare. But don't worry, we've got news. We've got more news. We've got Finland joining NATO. We've got how to talk to Russian bureaucrats. We've got plenty more to chat about here, friends. And don't worry, remember, you can raise your hand if you want. No one is. That's okay. So Someone who responded, someone whose icon is a woman's wearing underwear, showing only her groin area. Fantastic icon. Who are you? Dark Chicago. Dark Chicago is baffled by this. That's okay. Dark Chicago. He's just not listening to the stream, is he? I don't think I see it. I don't think I see those lovely ladies' underwear. No, he's not listening to the stream. He doesn't know what's going on. We know what's going on. So anyways, I was dared to read this. As someone who is familiar with the Eastern European mentality, I want to say that you and alike, probably I alike, are highly needed to give a breath of fresh air to that mentality. It might easily offend them, and they might see it in a bad light at first, but they need it without knowing it. Portrayed hate towards them, I think, make them highly suspicious towards each other, not only foreigners, but themselves too. Thinking nobody likes you or everyone hates you can really hurt you from one Slav to another. Yes, my Slavic brother, Mo. Yeah, again, I think that's really, it's kind of like, I don't know if I talked to you about this, but I have one friend, his mom died when he was a teenager. He can't get over it. He's now about my age, so he's probably turning 40 soon. And he's never been able to get over it. But what are you going to do? Tell him, dude, just give up that your mom died when you were a kid. The only person who ever loved you died and left you as a kid. Like, it's kind of hard. Some of the stuff is really difficult to get over with. But I can see that moment has been such a barrier for my friend. It's just this anchor or this barbed wire fence that he just can't get through. And with Russia, I see that the Russia's anchor or barbed wire fence is really this cult of self-hate started by Peter the Great. It just holds back everything. It just kills everything before it starts with because I think Russian pessimism comes from somewhere. And it's one thing to be sort of pessimistic, but when you're a combination of pessimistic and you feel you're inferior, oh boy, that is a deadly cocktail, my friends. That is a stinky, poopy cocktail. Kortik writes, as a U.S. citizen, one bound to the IRS, no matter where you reside, you must report your income to the IRS even if you do not reside in the USA. How does it work if you reside in Russia? Do you still report to the IRS? Yes, Kortik, every American citizen must report their earnings to the IRS once per year. If you reside more than 35 days on the territory of the United States, it's on vacation. So what is 36 days? 1/10 of a year, 365 days. So if you spend more than 1/10 of a year on the territory of the United States, you are a tax resident there, and you would have to pay taxes in the United States. My accountant in America told me that if I ever stayed in America too long, by one day, I would have to pay about, at the time, $10,000 for the privilege. No. However, there is a massive tax credit for those who live overseas. If you are an American citizen and you live overseas, your first 100,000 some dollars of income are not taxed. And guess what, guys? I am nowhere close to that and never will be. Okay? So that's how that works. Rockstar Weapon. Wow, that's the cost of a beer in a Toronto pub. I know. That's one of the reasons why private property is what it is. Because even if I failed to pay that, they wouldn't just immediately take my property. It's a whole long process. You guys do not know how reasonable, fair, and respectable these Russian property laws just keep getting better and better. We're here. Remember, this is Tim Kirby, Russia. I just talked about one of the worst things in Russia, the stupid mentality, right? I can tell you things in Russia that don't work well. Let's see, what in Russia doesn't work? Oh my God. Everything related to driving. But what does work are the property laws. All right. Tim, what are your utilities like? Gas, heating bills on average. In Moscow, it's about 5,500 rubles. So what's that in dollars today? Hold on, calculator. Calculator, go. Calculator, where are you? No. Calculator. Are you coming or are you not? Why aren't you there? I have a key command for the calculator to appear. Why isn't it appearing? Ah, there it is. Disgusting. 5,500 in Moscow. And divided by 60-ish. $91 is what I pay. You should add $17 to that as what I pay for the phone for a certain person who I chose to get married to, and 2 children and myself, and the internet for them. Adds up then to about $110 for everything within Moscow. In Chekhov, in summer, what the heck was that? That was a loud noise. In summer, I'm thinking it's more like for everything in Chekhov, I don't know, $40 a month. In winter, when using electric heating, it does get a little pricey. You're thinking more like the $150, $200 range. So there you go. Very, very cheap utilities by American standards. Surely a tax on your tiny house and the land it's on runs more than $8. No, Pete, it doesn't. It's $8. That's it. For the land and the house, it's $8. All property in Russia that's probably outside of Moscow proper, first off, it's valued way below the retail price. The value of it is not based. Someone just told me the proper terminology for this. There's like the actual price you'd sell it for. I want to call it retail, but retail isn't really the proper word. Well, the market price, I guess, of a house. And then there's like the appraised government price. And the appraised government price of my house is not even enough to buy the junkiest, most generic new car. And then the tax on it, I believe, works out to be 1/10 of 1% of the value. I think that's how it works out to be. So let's take that number and let's let's see, 1/10 of 1%. Oh boy, hold on. So that is 0.1 times the value of my house. Oh God. No, it's less than that. 100th? Oh my God, I forget how it works out. Oh, no, I think it's actually more like 100th of the value of it. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Brain fart, brain not working. But it's something like that. Of a very, it's like 1/100th of the value of a very underappraised value for what you own. I'm sorry. In Moscow, it's more. I think it's more like 2 or 3 or something. It works out to be more. Flat tax in Russia, nice. You're darn right. Well, not for houses. It's based on the appraised value, which is always low. I recommend if anyone can try to go look around on the map for the appraised value of property in Russia. Holy crap, is it low? In Texas, we are paying 3% property tax on market value. Well, I guess I'll tell you, the government values my house, or at least at the time I paid those taxes. I should say that. Let's do it that way. At the time I paid those taxes, the government valued the whole kit and caboodle of what I owned there for 600,000 rubles. So that's times 0.03, right? That would be 18,000 rubles, okay? So if I was in Texas, I would have paid 18,000 rubles, which is $300. So if I by Texas standards, I would pay $300 for that. So let's divide the 300 divided by $8. So it's 37.5 times cheaper than Texas. So 3% divided by 37.5, 0.08% taxes. Okay. That's what I paid, baby. So not a whole lot. All right. Anyways, 1/10 of 1% of 1,100. Oh, dude, you're confusing me, man. Paying $4,000 a year for property taxes here in Canada. Oh, dude. I always thought that I think my parents in America pay like $1,800 or something. My grandmother had to pay $3,000 until her death. God rest her soul. Something like 7 years ago or 5 years ago. But I've been talked to. I've talked to people who've written me saying they're paying $6,000. My hello, a certain person very close to me, $3,000 a year. Well, that's a lot more. Unbelievable. And the question is, for what? Well, one of the other things too is that schools in Russia are federal. So there you go. There's that whole thing about the local tax that determines the quality of your schools. Yeah. So, anyways, I lost my train of thought. Where were we? What the hell are we doing? Why are we doing this? Who are we? Where are we? Anyways, let me get a couple more comments read here. So, Mark is paying $7,000 a year in property taxes. Mark, you've set the record so far. Mark, do you live in a place they call Langley near Washington, D.C.? Is that why you're writing me and a fan of my work to pay that much money? Are you in Langley, San Francisco, or Manhattan? There you go, man. Holy moly. But don't I get a tax write-off, Cordic? Yes, I mentioned, yes, I do not pay any American taxes because I don't make that much money. So, but that also means that my Social Security will be dismal. I will get the absolute minimum Social Security, but as it stands now, I couldn't collect it anyways. So there you go. My Russian Social Security will be much higher. School districts and community college taxes are included in this, and people who send kids to private school don't. Yeah. There's the whole thing about with in America, if you get to go to private school, you still have to pay local taxes. Whereas in Russia, that's not the case. So there you go. Of course, you do get some taxes based on like the taxes they paid for my property. They do go to Chekhov, the county. So, but they don't really. It doesn't make that much of a deal of difference with schools. Schooling is all kind of based on population size. Okay, so here we go. Our last bit of news. We're going through this very slow. Is NATO in Finland. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. Russia's shut off. I believe they've shut off to Finland, like the electric flow. One thing I didn't know until recently is that the Finns were actually using Russian electricity, which is pretty crazy. Shutting everything off. I believe the gas is also shut off to Finland, so I don't know what they're going to do. Finland is definitely a country where, if this happened in winter, it could actually cause like a real serious problem, because in Finland, it is cold enough that, I mean, you can't, like, if everything automatically shut off in the middle of winter, some nights, that could be pipes bursting, that could be infrastructure damage, that could actually be lethal, especially to people who are maybe, how do I put it, like feeble or possibly feeble-minded that can't really deal with it. I mean, that could be a real thing. They're kind of lucky that this is happening in spring. But one thing that I wanted to bring up, which I did mention in the Tim Kirby Hardcore Telegram channel, that I did mention, but I think bears repeating and more explanation, is that with the Finns, excuse me, that cross is coming back up, is that with the Finns, like, the real issue here is about, again, with Turkey, the real issue, it's about the nuclear weapons. It's about if NATO can put a lot of nukes there. Because, again, I saw some sort of Western news report, and they were like, well, now that Finland will be in NATO, it puts pressure on the port of Murmansk. Because, remember, in World War II, despite the fact that it's way up there in the north, the Nazis were able to sort of agree with the Finns and I think with the Norwegians as well, to sort of push their way in and try to attack Murmansk and all that. And again, in a 21st century warfare environment between superpowers, we're worried about what infantry is doing. The media is terrible. But anyways, the real thing about Finland is it's yet another position that allows there to be closer, like the big weapons, the big nukes and all this, that, and the other. It also is a more reliable sort of zone to take because right now, I don't know, things are a little shaky. Well, I don't want to say anything. Maybe it's too far in advance. Things are a little shaky in the Baltics, a little shaky. But in Finland, they're not going to be. Finland is 100% all cylinders firing part of the West, okay? So, again, I don't really think that the Russians are going to try to punish the Finns for this decision, or do they, also, could Russia sway Finnish public opinion? Probably not. Finland is, very much involved in the West. But they can definitely try to deter them from having a lot of missiles on their territory. So this is very interesting. It's a point of contention. Of course, the Finns are going to use this as they're going to play the victim and all that. But I think neutrality benefited. Well, neutrality, whatever. They're an inherent part of the West. But this pseudo neutrality, I think, benefited them for a long time. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be spicy. So, anyways, here is our topic coming up for everyone who is expecting possibly a communication about this American Villages immigration project. So we'll get to that right after we answer a few messages. Truth like a lion That's manly, bro. That is manly. I pay $14,000 in Fort Worth, Texas, for one of the worst school districts. So there's that. I drink to you, sir. That is unbelievable. Texas does not have a state income tax, so they get you in other ways. Oh, yeah. 14,000. You know what's real painful? Well, think about that. What is that percentage wise? Of course, every state is different. $56,000 is the average American income. I know it's a little bit unfair, the average American income. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. Let's see. Hold on. Tim has to remember what math class was like. Hold on. That's about a quarter of your that's a quarter of the income of the average American family. Wow. 1/4 of everything that the average American makes would go just for the right to stay in the home that may have been paid off by their grandparents. Russians don't know how good they have it. I'll put it that way. That's offensive. Okay. No. Yeah. All right. What's the VAT tax? Oh, the VAT tax sucks, my friend Wanderer. It is correctly is about 20%. Yes. The VAT tax is high in Russia, so Russia makes it on the end of do you buy things. There's also a very fat tax on luxury cars, despite the fact that they're everywhere in Moscow. So yeah, Russia, it gets it more on buying, but friends, if you buy from not online, you buy from friend, VAT tax is 0. Russian lesson. So there's a benefit to buying stuff from your neighbors, I'll put it that way. Did you say something about the Irish flag? Yes, we did, but we're not going to cover that again. The Finns better straighten this thing out before winter. That's what I'm saying. Their infrastructure cannot survive a winter without heat, and a lot of their people can't either. Then again, it might end the migrant crisis in Finland. They'll all leave. Adam, is VAT included in the sticker tag price you see in stores? Correct. One difference between America and Russia is that the final price, in fact, they're not allowed to do it any other way by law. You are only allowed to show the absolute final price on an item. You cannot add some sort of mystery tax later. Okay. The only weird exception to that would be is you can accidentally hit this button on Yandex Taxi that will like give the taxi driver a tip. So be careful. Don't hit that button on accident. Well, unless they're a really good taxi driver. JN, I think it's included everywhere in Europe. I don't want to say for all of Europe, dude, but it seems consistently that it's only an American thing, or maybe American-Canadian thing, where we're mysterious about our taxation. Mark continues about his the $14,000 to the $14,000 for the right to stay in the home you own. It's a horrible way to fund society. In Canada, you can stay still. You can still buy unincorporated lands to be property tax free. Tons of these properties in Newfoundland. And like I said, let's go in. Oh boy, how about this? Let's go nuts. Let's just go absolutely nuts and go completely off the rails. Where is that website? GRM Carta. Don't worry about what I'm saying. You'll see. Where is the map? Oh my God. Here it is. Is it going to load? It is a little slow to load. Come on, baby. Are you going to do it? Oh, because I want to do the map to show you guys the property taxes. Come on. Map. Yeah, baby. Here it comes. Okay. I don't know. Let's just go out here. I'm going to share the screen. Where am I? We're going to do a screen share of this. Oh my God. Look at that. That is the EGRN map. So anyways, let's go see what the value of property is like by the lovely little town of Murom. So anyways, I don't want this to be hybrid. Well, do we? No, it's kind of confusing. Anyways, let's see. Let's try to pick out a piece of land here that's actually like land. Here we go. What's this? Oh, okay. What is this? This is a piece of land. It is huge. It is 2 million. So that's really big. Hold on. Let's scale this down. Hold on. There we go. This plot here, number 327. It is 145,000 square meters. So that's what? 14 hectares. Hectares 10,000 square meters. So 14 hectares of land. The value of it is, I'm going to indicate on my screen. The value of it is the taxes on it, if they're the same as in Chekhov, would be $4. There you go. There you go, my friends. $4 for your 14 hectares, which there's like 2.5 acres to a hectare. So there you go. Enjoy your 40 effing acres or whatever. Unbelievable. What kind of land is it? Well, it's farmland, so it has to be farmed. So let's try to pick out land that doesn't look to be at all farmland. Let's go to this guy's house. Okay, what's this? Vladimir region, Murom. That's a place of, that translates hardly. Panfilova. Okay, the little town of Panfilova. So 2,000 square meters. So it's 20 sotiks. Sotka is a measurement of 100 square meters in Russia. It's a very common measurement. Most little dachas are 600, for example. So this is like over 3 Khrushchev era dachas put together. It is what it is. Земли населенных пунктов. So it's more like so it's actually for limited personal farming. Interesting, but you can also live there. And the value is the same as that giant piece of land. So it is also would be $4 US in tax per year for this. Let's see, does this guy have like some kind of house here? Oh, as you can see the maps. No, there's a house built there. Wow, look at that. Ooh, well, the house is probably separate in terms of its taxes, but look at that, baby. Oh yeah, that's a nice house there. Can we click on like the houses specifically? Oh my God, let's click on the house. No, you can't get any of the house information separately. That is poopy, very poopy. Anyways, guys, that shows you about what taxes are like in Russia for land. Let's take a look for contrast at Moscow, because I'm sure Moscow is the opposite. And also, like I said, the tax rate in Moscow is sort of the only place in Russia where it's different for the most part. Let's see something downtown. This is very downtown, but there's not like buildings. There's just sort of apartments. Let's try to see the value of like a building. That's like a shopping center. That's not a very good comparison. What's this? What is this weird? Let's see. What's this weird little building here? Okay. It's a piece of land. It is exploitation of various administrative the institutions and public organizations. Its value is 15 million rubles and is 155 square meters, okay? But it has a value of 15 million rubles. But let's just say, hypothetically, they had the tax rate as in, it's Chekhov, right? So we have 15338.017. No, that I did wrong. It would be, oh no. I know. 15,333. That didn't work. My brain is not working. Why isn't it working? Oh my God. Let's just do it the hard way. So 15,338. So we divide it by 1,000 times 8. Oh, it would be 122,000 rubles a year, which is $2,000. So that's your Manhattan tax. That building would cost $2,000 based on the Chekhov tax rate, probably more realistically $3,000 or $4,000 a year, just for the right to own, because Moscow is different. So there you go. Moscow is different. But again, guys, because maybe some of you don't believe me, if we go over the border of Moscow, like right over the border, things are going to be a lot different. So this is the big highway that goes around Moscow. Let's see the value of like a house here that's not super big. How about this one? The value of it, $1,800,000. Oh, that's okay. Well, that's actually kind of a lot. $1,800,000. Okay, so interesting. Well, the rest of the country, everything's worthless. So there you go. That is our jump into the world of the prices for housing. I don't know. I don't know what's interesting. That's one thing. You guys got to let me know what you find interesting. So anyways, we have the Baltics. They have a 24% VAT tax. Maybe. I don't know. The only reason Finland exists today is because the Soviet Union let them after World War II. They must stay neutral or be part of Russia. Yeah, that's same thing kind of with Austria. Austria was sort of kept in existence as this sort of void between the two, right? Not as the U.S. U.S. can't avoid property tax anywhere. Nope, no luck. Is the state health care good in Russia? I'll put it this way, it's getting better. We'll talk about that another day. Major blunder by NATO, trading Sweden and Finland for Turkey. Russia gets 50 U.S. nukes off the border and gets access to the Mediterranean. Maybe, but remember, Christopher, Turkey plays by Turkey's rules, so there's no guarantee of access to anything. It's not like Turkey said it's part of Russia's new multipolar world order alliance or anything. Wanderer, thought income tax in Russia is 13. No. Two-tier medical, okay, free medical, excellent, cheap, private medical. Well, we'll talk about that another day. I've read in France and Germany, some even are paying as much as 64%. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Wife paid about $300,000 for $300. Well, the healthcare, no, we're already going nuts. We're going too nuts here. Everything's nuts. We're way out of line. The last thing I want to talk about today before we go, and no one raised their hand this whole time, so that means no one's going to talk. It's a shame. This hurts my feelings. That is not the document. The document should be here. Oh, it was about the call. So anyways, this is in relation to those of you who are now expecting a call from certain people within the Russian authorities about the American Villages project. You're kind of wondering how you should answer it or deal with it, or what would be the politics of that. The first thing is I'm glad someone in the chat mentioned something about, I should probably answer the numbers from the +7 region. One thing is that you guys have to do is especially for Americans out there, America has this weird tendency. Americans are for some reason terrified to answer the phone from people they don't know. This is some weird cultural thing that I didn't really ever think about, but it's caused me to actually lose contact with a lot of relatives, not because they've disowned me or they dislike me. They're afraid to pick up the phone because the number is weird coming from Skype or whatever. You have to get over that. That is not a part of Russian culture. You know, maybe besides Putin and like Shoigu, generally Russians just pick up the phone always. They always pick up the phone no matter who calls, and if they don't like it, what's on the other end, they tell the person to go F themselves, and then they block it. That is a very, very Russian thing. So again, if you're going, it's also for your future. If you're going to live in Russia, you have to get used to, in Russia, you always answer. It doesn't matter what it is. That's just a cultural thing. And I'll put it this way. If these people start trying to call you and you don't answer, well, you would think because you're from America, well, they'll call back later. Because that implies that the American attitude of, well, it's your job to do this, so you should try to provide a good service and do your job the best that you. No. If you don't answer, it's your fault. That's number one. Okay? Number two, the person on the phone is probably going to speak to you in absolutely terrible English, okay? Not because they're a bad person, not because they're dumb, but that's just the way it is. So one thing is you should have to, another thing you have to learn about Russian society is with Russia, you have to be forceful to get what you want. I've even been told I was doing an audio recording of this very strange like drama, but they wanted me to play this really like a nerdy African American fellow was full of optimism, but he doesn't quite know what to do with his life. And anyways, they're like, even when you're trying to be friendly, you sound aggressive. You're darn right. I've lived in Russia for 15 years. So one thing you guys have to do is, like with this person, you have to be like, okay, they're telling you stuff. Wait, what exactly do I need to send you? What exactly are the dates? You have to be in control of that conversation and get them to give you the information that you need. I know it sucks, but you just gotta, I don't know, go to like some sort of underground gym and like get that nice syringe full of steroids and just shoot it right in, right before you get those calls. Because again, in Russia, if you don't understand them, it's your fault. Even if their English is really bad and confusing. So you've got to try to talk to them, and you've got to, but not be like crazy assertive, but you have to be like, they're like, okay, in this, and then in we call you back. And then, wait. When exactly are you going to call me back? Are you going to call me on this number? May I have your number so I can call you? Okay, carry on. Okay, well, we are going to prepare this document. We need from you to have this birth certificate. Wait, okay. My birth certificate is from 1965. It was handwritten on a napkin. Are you going to accept that? Because that's the only one I have. You have to stop them and force them to give you what you need. Because the worst thing you could do, and something that I have to admit, sometimes I still do this day, is the whole, you kind of nod your head and go along. Nodding your head and going along means you've already lost. So that's very, very important. What else? There are some other points I wanted to cover. You guys may have some questions there about this. But yeah, and another thing, someone was like, you're probably listening right now, very kindly was sort of telling me like a story about how they were like, they want to come to Russia, but they got divorced, but they still have a lot of interaction with their like ex-husband, or maybe they didn't, I don't know. But essentially they spent a long time going into this. But the long story short was that they're actually coming with another relative, okay? But this relative is also a man. So here's the thing, like, because I was kind of, sort of reading this conversation passively. I was like, wait, who is this? So, or did you send me the passport of your ex-husband for some reason? Who is this other? Like that, get no details. There's like, be honest. But when you're dealing with like bureaucrats, just be like, marital status, single, divorced. I'm coming to Russia with my cousin, uncle, brother, whoever this person was. Like story time is not story time is when you get here and we form a community and we call it like, who knows, maybe we'll get a moonshiner and we'll all sit on somebody's porch on rocking chairs and have a good old time. But that's for later. That's not for now. You cannot throw, especially at a foreign person, right? All sorts of extra information. Just got to keep it simple. Very simple. And of course, answer truthfully, because if you get caught in one lie, they're not going to let you in here. So answer truthfully, and maybe try to relay the sense of urgency that you really want to be here. The thing is, when you do your temporary residency, permanent residency, and citizenship, they usually have someone kind of talk to you. Not every time. I think one time they didn't. But they usually have someone sort of talk to you about your motivations and why you're here in Russia and all this. What can I tell you? I don't know what they're looking for. I think that's a little bit of a secret, and I'm not quite sure what they're looking for. But answer honestly. I did, and I'm here. So anyways, then let's say I think that's pretty much everything we want to talk about. Again, thanks to our news gatherers for gathering the news. Let me know if this type of live stream is more what you want. If it's more of the thing, we're kind of getting into different pieces of news, because it's hard to talk for like a whole hour about one thing. I tend to do things in a very concise way. So I kind of like just a bunch of topics. We're rolling from topic to topic. I find that fun. You let me know what you think. But anyways, here are the questions that I haven't answered. Oh boy, I think I skipped some. No, that's rude of me. My wife paid about, oh, no, we talked, we have an American immigrant says, we have a 700 square foot apartment in the capital. We pay $825 a month. Our utilities, gas, electricity, and water cost $27 a month. Well, the problem is the capital of what? What are you referring to? Where are you? 700 square foot. 700 square feet's not much. That's like what I have in Chekhov. that is a tiny house. Truth, but cheesing off Turkey was still okay. Yes, in the U.S., the prices are insane from what I've heard. The U.S. is brutal on a lot of prices of stuff. Clothing is cheap, though, in America. Food used to be cheap. I don't think it is anymore, but clothing and food used to be real cheap by Russian standards. It's because of so many Adam, why do people not answer? It's because so many scammers. In Russia, you answer the phone anyways. It doesn't matter. Who will be calling? Timur's office, the agency? Actually, no, probably the people within the governmental administration who are handling this. It would be amazing if Timur would call because his English is baller. It is super good. He is so easy to understand. That would be amazing. And that's probably not what's going to happen. So, yeah, get ready. But it's to be honest, I gave everyone, because of this situation, I gave everyone, these people, everyone's Telegram. Why? Because the Telegram will allow you to communicate in written form, which will be vastly more clear for everyone. I personally think that dealing with this process with written form, where you can just sort of drag and drop scans of documents, I think that that's better rather than going back to 1980 and trying to do like telephone calls. That's outdated, but we'll see. They may actually just call you over Telegram. I'm not sure. So, excuse me, that bad habit of mine. I get tons of chunks of dead skin. Kills me. Anyways, when the British colonized and surveyed natural resource property in northern Ontario, Abitibi Gold Belt, the townships were divided into 36 square miles of unincorporated lands. There are no taxes on these vacant lands that have mineral and timber rights. Oh, because they want people to live there. Gotcha. Jim, how difficult is it to learn Russian for somebody who doesn't speak a similar language? That all depends on you, man. That's actually maybe a bigger topic for an entire separate show. Write me about that in the future, and we can talk about learning Russian as like a whole show. There's a lot to say about that. We got your moonshine covered, says Adrian. Yes, you're right. Yes, that's going to happen. Putin looks rather pale in this picture. Hope his health is okay. Yeah, he's fine. We got the moon. Yeah. Do you need our phone numbers? You got our telegram, says Christopher. If they ask, I'll give it. But like I said, I pushed everything in the telegram direction because, again, I just think it's going to yield better results. I just think it's going to be easier for them to read it, to be able to read the English rather than speak to you in it and try to understand what you're saying. They can also copy and paste everything into Yandex Translate and get a decent translation. And again, you can drag and drop files to each other. And if you have people from the government here, they're going to be calling you landline telephone to, I guess, cell phone there in America. We don't need to go back to the 80s. The 80s are over. They were great, but we're done. We're done with the 80s. And we're done with this live stream. Speaking of being done with stuff, there are scammers on Telegram too. Well, Pete, that's another thing. See, again, this is a difference in mentality. Well, it's like, but there's people, and they could be scammers. They could be con artists, so I'm scared, so I won't answer. In Russia, you answer anyways. Think about that, the difference in mentality. So what are you scared of? So, not just specifically Pete. I mean, everyone. So, here. Oh, boy. Let's do it Alex Jones style. So the F what? So the F what? You get maybe a random call here or there from some sort of con artist, or in Russia, from people sitting in prison trying to make a living. So hang up. Go on with your daily life. One time I can even tell you that I didn't realize it. We were going down, this was a long, long time ago. And we were driving down a country road, and it was kind of bumpy and annoying. And this was, I think, before maybe even pre-smartphone, or maybe, I don't think it was a smartphone. I think it was a button phone, or like the transitional, like, kind of smartphones, but not really. And I got this call, And I could not really understand what this guy was saying. He was like, well, we want just what's a job offer. And this was after I started, I think I was only working at RT for like maybe a year or 2 years. And I was just like, oh, I'm not really looking for work. If I would have taken that job opportunity, I'd be a very wealthy man right now. So that's one thing. I'll put it this way. Just when you're in Russia and when you're dealing with Russia, you answer the phone. You never know what kind of opportunities. You never know who. And also because in Russia, it is not a weird thing to make contact with people you don't know. It's not weird at all. It's super normal. So if you're here and you're just not answering the phone, you're really, I don't know, if you live in fear, live in America. We're ending on a spicy note. Ooh, things are getting spicy. Oh my God. Spicy. I hope they're clear who they are. Well, again, Pete, that's up to you, man. The defense of you is up to you. That's something very American, right? I'm from, let's get these final questions here, and then we'll get out after things have gotten spicy. JN, I'm from Serbia, and I can understand like 50% of Russian, but I always thought it's quite difficult to learn due to the huge grammar. I don't know. Doesn't Serbian have the same grammar? You guys seem to have grammar cases and the same stuff. I don't know. The pronunciations seem similar. Have you got enough people? I have a few people that want in. Well, it's not that I have enough or too little. It's the fact that sort of the first wave is closed for now. There will be second waves, and like I've mentioned before, the region of Novgorod, not Nizhny Novgorod, the other one, Novgorod, Veliki Novgorod. I always mix this one up. All these place names are getting blurred in my mind. They're interested in putting together a village, from what I understand, and they want to work with me on that. So, we still have places, but the first wave is closed for now. We have to get that done in order to go then to the second wave. So for now, the book is closed for today. So vocabulary first, then grammar. Vocabulary will let you struggle through. I would say, Christopher, very quickly, no. Grammar first. As an adult, you need to understand the methodology of what you're doing. It's not a fear. It's extreme annoyance. No, Pete, it's fear. Because remember how everyone comments, like, but what if this could happen? What if that could happen? Oh, no. Or even too, like, I've even told like some of my relatives that, I'm going to try to call you, answer a number, or could you at least just start? No. It's just this thing. It's this very, very, when you start living in another culture, you'll start to see what things are very ingrained in your mindset from being born in a different place. And that is one of them. Just like the other day, what was it? Oh, it was something. I can't remember what it was. Well, I can use a more minor example. Today I watched my kid play soccer. And some of the Russians' parents just sort of went up. It's hard to explain, but there's like a little field next to an actual stadium with like bleachers and all that. And they went on the bleachers. And it said that you're not supposed to go up there. And they were just like, come on up. And my instant American instinct is, but it says you're not supposed to go up there. I don't want to deal with any cops or security guards. I don't want to do this. And remember, Russians have none of that. They didn't even see the sign. They just walked up there. And when you live here over a long time, you really get to see what your cultural indoctrination looks like. Actually, from this year, it's not flat. First 5 million rubles or 84,000 US dollars is 13%. Everything above is 15%. Oh, Dennis, you're talking about something else. Yes, the income tax. Yeah, now they changed it. That was one thing that I think Putin did to sort of punish the rich people. Is so if you're making real big bank, remember the first 5 million rubles. Now, who makes 5 million rubles a year? That is the top 3-4% of the Russian population. That is a very, very small group of very wealthy people. Okay, so yeah. But essentially, in all, I'll put it this way. You're not going to meet many people who are in the tax bracket. So De facto, it is flat. But yeah, Putin did add that on when he gave a speech, when he was angry about something. When Putin gets angry, the rich suffer. Adam, please ignore the question if irrelevant. What happened to Anna from Russia beyond the headlines? I'm not sure if it's a secret yet to be revealed. She's alive and healthy. She is definitely alive and she's definitely healthy. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say what she's doing quite now because it's kind of a new thing. I'm not sure if that's to be revealed to the public. Wait a month, Adam. I'll tell you in a month. I'm sure it'll be revealed by then. But anyways, guys, I hope none of you were offended by that. That I got a little harsh there, a little spicy. I like spiciness. Anyways, I'm going to bail. Thank you very much. And I will, of course, upload this live stream within 24 hours. So take care. And remember, thank you to everyone who's sending all these news articles. This makes this a lot easier. If you guys have ideas like for live streams, send them over. Russian language and how to learn it, that's a pretty good one.